Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching, wherever you're watching from. My name is Lawrence, and today you are watching another live lesson of the G&I Digital Growth Program. And today we're going to talk about understanding your data. And well, who's this for? It's for managers and traditional news publications, people who work there. And we'll tell you a bit about how this training is structured, because the objective of this training is to take an in-depth look at the methods that newspapers are using to successfully become online publishers. And every lesson covers a different element, and today we're covering understanding your data. Um, Again, I am your host, Laurens, and in the chat, Seamus will be there to provide you with resources, but also willing to answer your questions or maybe tell me about some questions or other things that I should add if you've got some nice remarks or additions. For this class, we would love to know your experience and we would like to know who you are, where you're from. So if you would be so kind, please tell us your name right there in the chat, and then Seamus and I can say hi. Now, each lesson we break down into key topics. We tell you so what, focus, and what now. Today, again, it's understanding your data, which is part of the data management track. And this is where today's lesson sits within the bigger suite of lessons. So this is the entire lesson plan for becoming a successful digital publisher. And as you can see, today we're on the third track, the third column, the first lesson, understanding your data in the data management track. So there's many more for you to attend, and please see if you can take some other classes and some other lessons as well. Before we start, I would like to tell you one more thing. To get the most out of this training, we want to help show you the variety of options that you have and that are available to you. However, it's really important for us to say that it's obviously your choice. It's your actions, your resources, your context. Obviously, each publisher has its own challenges, complex, different challenges, and it's based on your resources, your level of expertise, the number of people you have in your team, and the varying amount of other resources that you have. So we give you options, but it's for you to decide how you want to move forward, what actions and next steps you will take. So it's based on your needs, experience, and your aims. Now, without any further ado, why does it matter to understand your data? Making small changes based on what we learn from audience data can make huge differences to commercial success. So in this lesson, we are going to talk about how we can develop a new behavior around metrics. And before we get into the details around analytics, metrics, key performance indicators, tools, and real-time analysis, which are a couple of the topics we will talk about, we just want to take a moment to talk about data, because data is probably the biggest reason why the approach to publishing online is so different than with previous traditional publishing. That we can find out so much more with data and about our audience online and how they're interacting with us and what they want and what they don't want. So it's from this data that we can make small changes that can ultimately make huge differences to commercial success. Now, our focus today, we've got three topics. The focus for this lesson will be 1, understanding analytics, 2, publishing KPIs, key performance indicators, and we will show you some tools, and Seamus will provide you with links to the tools in the chat. And then thirdly, we're going into data maturity. Understanding analytics. Let me give you an introduction to analytics. So, what are the options when you go into metrics? Because when you want to do analytics, you have to know your metrics. Let's see what we can measure and then break it down into different sections. You can measure your website, which you can see on the left. This is probably the first thing you want to measure, and one that we are going to deep dive into further in this training. So how you can measure data on your website. So if someone is on your website, you can see the data of who they are and how they are interacting with your site. So basic Google Analytics is possibly the primary tool you would be thinking about, but there are other reporting tools out there, such as heat mapping, color codes, where your web pages are red hot or not red. And there's social. There are many social media. They have their own analytics platforms, and they give you a nice insight into the audience. So, a quick intro into Google Analytics and some of the key metrics. Let me show you Google Analytics. They have some key metrics and what they mean to publishers online, for a news publisher online. It makes it easy, Google Analytics, to understand how your site and app users are engaging with your content. So you know what's working and what's not. So think about these basic metrics you might already be familiar with. Users, unique users, page views, duration, and demographic details. And by the way, if you do have any questions, please feel free to add and type in your questions to the chat, and maybe Seamus can answer them, or otherwise he will notify me, and maybe I will be able to help you. So please don't hesitate. If you have any questions on these metrics or Google Analytics, please do put your question into the chat. Now, let's go a bit deeper into these key features. An introduction on a few of these 8 that we've stated right here. So the first one is acquisition overview on the top left. And this provides you with a bird's eye view of your traffic sources and how users are engaging with your site. The second is social overview. And this enables you to measure social relationship, which is the impact of social media on your site. The social overview on the top right. Then we go into 3, the bounce rate. You might already be familiar with this, maybe from your own experience, maybe from another lesson you took right here with the GNI Digital Growth Program. Your site bounce rate, it represents the number of users that enter your site and then leave after just viewing one single page. So that's the bounce rate. Traffic sources, number 4. This is the section that provides you with a comprehensive overview of all your sources using a simple table, so you can see where the traffic is coming from. 5 is conversions. Goals can be pretty much anything you can track, simply when a visitor takes a specific predefined actions, and it's up to you again what you consider a valuable action, and then you can see if a user that visited your site used this action or showed this behavior, which you can call a conversion. Then behavior flow, number 6 on the right hand side, a flowchart that shows which of your pages are attracting the most hits, most exits, and the routes users take. So based on that kind of information from behavior flow, you can decide to take other actions like analyzing why people exit from specific kinds of pages. And that's where we get to number 7, the exit pages. When you visit a site and view a few pages, your exit page is the last one you view. And if it continues to be the same page, then maybe you should add something and see if you can go into more recirculation strategies. We'll talk about that later. And then lastly, number 8, goals. You can pick any action you want and set it up as a goal, even simple stuff, such as someone using a contact form. Now, these are all key features and metrics that you can use. They're also built into Google Analytics, where you can add them and put them to your metrics for what you want to analyze and how you can work with your data. Now, a bit more specific, bouncing rate, bouncing readers, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. So if we go to number 3 again, as you can see right here, is the bounce is a single page view on your site. And this means that somebody has visited your site and only engaged with one page before leaving. Is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. It depends on what success is for your site. So you have to formulate, you have to state what success means. So if this bounce rate is on a content page and you have ads on that page, then that could be deemed a success. And if the same bounce rate shows for your homepage and it doesn't have any ads on it, this might be a red flag. Your homepage is supposed to be a gateway to other pages. So you might want to take action there. Could be design, could be content, it could be anything, but it's up to you to decide. Now, in search of insight, how can you turn these detailed numbers into insightful reports? Analytics can give you an amazing ability to track data, but 80% of the time is spent collecting data and 95% of data goes unanalyzed. So if you think about this, you'd be missing the opportunity to gain real insight into your data and your audience and their engagement. So if only there were some ways to interpret all the data and turn analytics into insightful reports that are easier to understand. Well, there are. Let us show you some activities you can do. You can build custom dashboards and reports. So the first step you can take is to turn the data collected by Google Analytics into something you can take in at a glance by creating custom reports and dashboards that show you what's really going on. You can use Google Analytics for that. So to get the best out of this fully customizable feature and obtain directly relevant dashboards, you want to use all your skills as a publisher to set your own key performance indicators. So think about those again. Users, unique users, average time spent. Check out real accounts by looking at Google Merchandise Store, and Seamus will provide you with the link in the chat. So after this lesson, you will be able to browse around and see how a real account looks, which is the Google Merchandise Store, and it gives you an idea about how dashboards work and what kind of metrics and goals you can set. Now, there is a solutions gallery within Google Analytics. It's an opportunity to get predefined goals, dashboards, and reports that you can plug straight into your analytics account. So you don't have to think about how to reinvent the wheel, but there are already solutions. So to get started, have a look through these Google Analytics solutions gallery. And this contains in-product solutions such as dashboards, custom reports, and segments. And it deepens your use of Google Analytics and accelerates your learning curve. So whether you're a newbie or a guru, they will help you learn more about your data through the power of Google Analytics. The solutions gallery includes almost more than 3,000 goals. So the chances are that you will find something that is helpful for you as well. Just give it a look, and it's within Google Analytics. Now, the second part of this lesson is publishing KPIs, the key performance indicators. You might already have a wealth of data at your fingertips, but often there is a big difference between having the data and finding insights in the data. Now, here's what you can do about that. There's been a survey, and Parsley, they surveyed recently 270 professionals at publishing sites, brands and agencies about their use of content analytics. And there are a lot of metrics, but which do publishers think matter the most based on recent research? So as you can see right on the right-hand side, the survey respondents selected time on page views as the two biggest indicators. So social sharing came in at a close third. So think about it again. So time on page and page views are the two biggest indicators that are of importance to publishers, brands, and agencies. And at the bottom of the list, you can see click-through rate and scroll depth. They were picked by only 8% of digital publishers as metrics that meant a piece did well. So think about it again, time on page and page views. Now, those metrics are important. On the other hand, which metrics do not matter? It was a different question within the same survey. So publishers agree less, which is an interesting thing, about which metrics they don't care for. So more people selected page views as the least useful metric than conversions or new versus returning visitors. Well, this wouldn't be the case if you simply reverse the order of preferences most useful metric, which indicates that people, as we said, they have a strong feeling for about page views and one way or the other. So think about it again. More people selected page views as the least useful metric than conversions or new versus returning visitors. Now again, it's up to you which metrics matter most and which do not matter to you, but this is based on a survey what the industry says about important metrics, important KPIs, key performance indicators. Now, metrics that matter measure the behavior of readers, not of browsers. So what do they really tell us? Engaged time, it's a metric, and the reader says, how long did we hold the reader's attention? If it's recirculation, I touched on this earlier, what did they read next? And then page views, how much did they read? So how many pages? And what did they read next? And the engaged time, so how long are you able to hold the reader's attention? these metrics are important as well, obviously. Now, there are some tools, some options you have to gain some more insights that are particularly aimed and specifically created for publishers. One of them is the News Tagging Guide. It's a free tool that helps you make the most out of Google Analytics by capturing better data, which is, again, specifically created with publishers in mind. So it's a free tool and it helps you to capture your data better, and you will be able to identify the key metrics that you want to capture from your readers. It simplifies the Google Analytics technical implementation with tags that are ready to copy paste on your site. And it amplifies the recommendations and insights you obtain from News Consumer Insights, which is another tool we'll go into later on, and real-time content insights. So this News Tagging Guide helps you capture better data with Google Analytics. There is a playbook, which is called the GNI Tagging Playbook, and it takes a deeper dive into your Google Analytics implementation for more accurate data collection. And Seamus can provide you with the resource to set up your own news tagging guide and the playbook. So please look at the chat, and then we'll take just a moment to think about the next question. And that is, how will you gain real insight from your data? Think about it for a few moments. So how will you gain real insight from your data? And what tools could you be using? I'm going to look at Seamus to see if there are any comments, people that say hi, or if they do have any questions about metrics, analytics, and key performance indicators. Just give you a moment there. Take a sip of water. Well, let me just continue. How will you gain real insight from your data? Now, there are two ways, and I just named these two tools. One of them there are two tools, recommended tools for all publishers looking to get more insight from the data, and one is real-time content insights, and the other is news consumer insights. We call them RCI, NCI. There is a dedicated session on RCI and NCI within Current Data Management Workshop in this GNI Digital Growth Program. So if you do want to know more, want to go into it a bit deeper, please do subscribe to this session as well on RCI and NCI. But to give you an overview, I'm sorry. The real-time content insights helps you identify in real time which articles are the most popular with your readers and what broader topics are trending in your region. So it puts you in context with your region. Real-time content insights enables engaging data visualization for your newsroom and is available for publishers using all versions of Google Analytics. The second tool, number 2, is News Consumer Insights, and it measures the performance of your audience using our benchmarks and get actionable recommendations to improve business gaps. Now, News Consumer Insights will allow you to grow user engagement, maximize your consumer revenue strategy, and is available for publishers using all versions of Google Analytics. So it's two different tools, but they help you on different sides. And again, with the real-time content insight, it helps you to put yourself into context, in a bigger context with topics that are trending in your region. And News Consumer Insights will give you actionable recommendations to improve business gaps. Now, real-time content insights is a tool that builds upon the data from News Consumer Insights. So it allows publishers to see what's happening on their site at a particular moment, making insights more useful and actionable on both the business side and the journalism side of the publication. So like the name states, real-time content insights, this tool allows you to see your publication's performance in real time. And you can get insights on audience interest, like casual visitors versus loyal readers, and article KPIs, such as recirculation and speed. Now, because things change so quickly in the news world, these insights are powerful in keeping things moving. And then real-time content insights explained. It's built to help newsrooms make quick data-driven decisions on content creation and distribution. Now, this is how Google explains the tool. Real-time content insights (RCI) is built to help newsrooms make quick data-driven decisions on content creation and distribution. Journalists will be able to identify which articles are the most popular across their audience and what broader topics are trending in their regions. RCI also helps newsrooms visualize their data with a full screen display mode. So, in other words, RCI takes data from Google Analytics and uses it to inform publisher specific metrics. So, instead of using it to provide audience data, it uses it to identify the sort of content that is most likely to attract new readers and encourage return visitors. So think about what real-time content insights can do for you. Now, the second tool is News Consumer Insights. This is a custom tool just for publishers. It looks at your Google Analytics through a subscription-oriented lens. So that's the big difference. And it will help you uncover the following things: which readers drive value on your site, the most effective ways to reach consumers, how to build a loyal user base, ways to improve engagement with your users, and how to convert users into paying consumers through subscription or patronage. So it looks at the user funnel, and the News Consumer Insight report uses the funnel concept to visualize different Google Analytics reader segments and how they engage with your site. So the end goal is to provide insights that help you move users from the casual reader segment down to the funnel to becoming loyal readers or even subscribers. Think about that. Now, to wrap it all up, the News Consumer Insights provides customized recommendations on reader engagement and revenue. The NCI, the acronym for short, has a decision engine to automatically provide customized recommendation on reader engagement and revenue for your publication. So, for example, it can identify if a publication newsletter signups are low and serve a suggestion on how to grow this audience. And it allows publishers to spend less time analyzing the data and more time acting on business recommendations. To give you an example, was what Dainik Jagran did and how they used real-time data to great effect. It's an Indian Hindi language daily newspaper and becoming the largest newspaper in India. And the paper used NCI and RCI to boost engagement strategy during India's 2019 general election. So this data-led approach to driving engagement led to 145% higher average session duration and a 92% higher pages per session. So users who were presented content from the CRE also consumed more content and saw pages per session increase by 92% versus users who were not. So I think about this is an example that revolves around elections, and election seasons are of unparalleled importance to news organizations, and they often serve as educational resources for their readers as well. So during elections, news outlets have an increased responsibility to help readers develop an understanding of policy, of trends, of candidates, of issues, and it's also time when a news organization expects extensive traffic and monetization growth. So think about that, how maybe elections could help you act on your new gained data and insights based on your analytics. The third and last topic for today is data maturity. Let me go into that, because what is data maturity? You already might have an idea. It rates how far an organization has reached in terms of its digital transformation journey. And digital maturity is a measure of an organization's ability to create value through digital. And as such, it's a key predictor of success for companies launching a digital transformation. Businesses with high levels of digital maturity have a competitive advantage along multiple performance indicators, including revenue growth, time to market, cost efficiency, product quality, and customer satisfaction. Now, Deloitte has a global data maturity report. It's been done in collaboration with the Google News Initiative, and the report examines how company can use data to increase user engagement on digital platform and drive value through the monetization of those platforms. Now, the initial report, Digital Transformation Through Data, How News and Media Companies Are Delivering More Value with Insights, outlines how publishers can responsibly collect, analyze, and activate audience data to improve overall engagement, increase direct paying relationships to readers, and drive revenue from advisors. Now, Seamus will be able to provide you with a link to Deloitte's Global Data Maturity Report if you're interested. So please let him know, and he will put a link in the chat. Now, there are 4 stages of data maturity. As you can see right here, it's nascent, developing, mature, and leading. Now, let's go into these 4 one by one. The 4 maturity level that were observed are nascent. Organizations at this stage, on the left-hand side, they have the basic tools, but they often face cultural challenges to truly embracing data-supported decision-making. And that's cultural, mostly in the sense of the culture of the organization. Second one, developing. So that could be a stage of data maturity. These organizations are able to drive value from data in some pockets of their business. Leadership recognizes data as a priority, but it's unclear how to unlock the best returns. Now, the third stage, the blue one right here, is the mature stage, and data-informed decision-making is the standard across much of the business. And while the technology and tools support various use cases, they are mostly on a project basis and not on business as usual. And then the fourth and most mature stage of data maturity is leading. And these organizations see data as an integral part of achieving their strategic objectives. They experiment with innovative, data-oriented projects and technologies that help drive the industry forward. Now, Agence France-Presse is a new data-driven editorial ecosystem, and it aims to stimulate data journalism within AFP and its clients' newsrooms by making original, reliable, selected, and indexed datasets easily accessible. Now, the project by the AFP has the 3 components: creating original datasets with high editorial added value, making these structured, indexed, editorial useful datasets generated by the AFP by partner sources or by AFP selected open data sources. They make all these data sets available to newsrooms on the platform via download or an API, an application programming interface. And using these data sets to automatically or semi-automatically produce live news content. So this is what the AFP, how they're creating an ecosystem to harness data to produce and monetize content. Another case study is by Le Parisien. They launched a data hub to use all data available in Paris to better inform its readers. So the Le Parisien data hub, they gathers all live and geolocalized data available in Paris to better inform its inhabitants. So through a dedicated dashboard, mobile widgets, and both digital and printed content, the Le Parisien data hub aims to provide a series of decision-making services to its readers. Now, it can be a struggle for many digital publishers working with data, and only 9% of news and media companies taking part in Deloitte study, they were defined as leading in terms of data maturity. The research found that a significant disparity in data maturity around the world. So news and media companies are struggling to apply audience data insights to better understand and communicate with their readers. The report also comes with recommendations suggesting a path forward for publishers through structuring this complex topic into a set of core business areas with actionable recommendations to improve in each. And then one more thing, the best-in-class digital publishers that are news and media companies that are seeing conversions increase by up to 30% on some non-core products, driving up to 20% more subscriptions than less mature companies. And they're building entirely new revenue streams, for example, classifieds, events, gaming, e-commerce, based on insights into what readers are likely to buy. So media organizations that score highly in terms of data maturity tend to achieve better results in conversions, in subscriptions, and new revenue streams. So to end off with the last question, do you know your data maturity? Have you ever assessed how mature your organization is when it comes to working with data? Also based on the data maturity report by Deloitte. So how can you find out where you stand? Now, there's this activity you can do, and it's called Your Data Maturity. You can run a test. You can do the data maturity benchmark yourself. It's a diagnostic tool. based on Google's study with Deloitte of how news and media organizations leverage data to drive engagement and monetization across digital properties. So run the data maturity benchmark to find out where your organization is on the data maturity scale. Seamus will provide you with a link to the data maturity benchmark right there in the chat. Now, before we go into any questions from you, the viewers, let's look at this roadmap to maturity. There are 9 core business areas in which an organization can get up to speed. You can start with improving overall reader engagement, but once you know where you are down that road, you want to know how to close the execution gap. And to this end, Google and Deloitte have devised a path forward for publishers through structuring this complex topic into 9 core business areas with actionable recommendations to improve in each. Now, there are 4 foundational elements that were identified: culture and ways of working, technologies, second one, skills, third one, and data is the 4th one. Well, with these solid foundations in place, culture and ways of working, technology, skills, and data, news and media companies can advance their data maturity, drive audience engagement, and ultimately business performance. So the study and the playbook are available for download. Now, to start with improving overall reader engagement, you can look at content planning, recirculation, and reader experience. With content planning, you might go into use audience data to inform and promote content. Recirculation, you can use the audience data to surface the relevant stories in that moment. And with reader experience, you can optimize the look and feel for on-site and in-app readers. Now, increase direct paying relationship with readers. You can look into subscription pricing and promotions. You can design for a lifetime value, use the data to better understand the potential lifetime value of a reader. And you can look into a revenue diversification, develop non-core products and services, but based on reader demand. And then on the right-hand side, drive revenue from advertisers. You could look into audience-based ads, advertising pricing strategy, and you can optimize that based on the behaviors of audience segments. And you can do inventory yield management, so optimize a mix across direct sales, private marketplaces, and open auctions. And then there are some courses where you can go to and attend to follow today's session. It's content planning, reader experience, and subscription pricing and promotions. And we'll show you in the end what kind of tracks are available, and that we are in the data management track. And so I'll highlight it for you later on in this lesson. Now, just one case study. It's Jysk Finske Medier. It's Denmark's second largest media group with 70 local newspapers. They produce thousands of local stories and has thousands of auto-generated stories at their disposal each month. Now, many of these stories are highly relevant to a small group of people in a local community, but completely uninterested for everyone else. So that's why it's crucial that to be able to identify and present the right content to the right audience, regardless of the platform. The key is clearly investing in the development of new digital offerings and ways of engaging local communities to ensure the main vision. And that is striving for elevating local communities through sustainable journalism. Now, Jysk Finske Medier aims to increase the value of and revenue from hyperlocal journalism by personalizing content delivery and discovery across multiple platforms. Now, by leveraging technology and big data, the publisher is able to serve content to readers in the most relevant format. So Jysk Finske Medier, they used technology and big data to serve their very hyperlocal audience the right content, the right time, in the most relevant format. Another case study is by Die Welt, which is a German national daily broadsheet. And it has one of the most comprehensive and holistic digital approaches in the media industry. They changed their website based upon data reporting, and they optimize it for mobile readers. So they do cross-platform news reporting and agile responsiveness to changing user reader behavior. They integrated the newsroom, and that enabled it to step away from traditional silos and create a range of content like videos, blogs, and social, to connect with a wider audience across various channels. And they did this based on detailed analysis of the user's reading habits. And Die Welt recently adapted its website to the needs of mobile users and added more fast-loading videos. Now, the upgrade was coupled with a change in its paid content strategy to better monetize the additional content. It switched from a metered model to a freemium approach in which only full premium content is gated behind a paywall. Now, last case study is by the Prisa Group, and it used Google Data Studio to deliver quicker reports. The Prisa Group does breaking news, and they're driving engagement with better analytics. They're one of the world's leading Spanish Portuguese language news media groups, and leading in creation and distribution of content in the fields of culture, education, news, and information entertainment. So they built a scalable, high-performance analytics platform with BigQuery to gain insights into its customer base and improve its media products, including major Spanish newspaper El País. So by using BigQuery in the Google Cloud, the results they ingest, process, and analyze data for powerful insights. It helps to deliver their reports 27% faster through Google Data Studio, which empowers key decision makers to act quickly. And it drives user engagement with more relevant content on the homepage and pre-moderated comments. So these are just a few case studies where data help newsrooms to better inform their audience, to tailor their content to the users' and readers' needs. And they've been achieved by different newsrooms on different scales with different tools. And these are just a summary of the tools we've touched upon today, or that you're able to experiment with yourself. Think about the Google Cloud Platform, which is offered by Google. It's a suite of cloud computing services that runs on the same infrastructure that Google uses internally for its end user products. We have Google Analytics 360, and it provides tools and supports enterprise teams that need to get actionable insights from the data. And then there's obviously news consumer insights and real-time content insights, which we've discussed earlier in this lesson. And last but not least, we invite you to do a test and see what your own data maturity is and do the benchmark. So the diagnostic tool that shows you how to drive engagement and monetization across your digital properties. Now, to zoom out a little bit and see what we've covered here today in this lesson, understanding your data within the data management track. We've looked at understanding analytics, getting hands-on with the data from your website and your digital assets like social media. Secondly, publishing KPIs. We've looked at the news consumer insights and real-time content insights for publishing KPIs, key performance indicators. And thirdly, we've looked at the data maturity with which the GNI, the Google News Initiative, has done together with Deloitte to see at what stage news organizations are and what steps they can take to reach the next level and make data work for you. Now, let me check if there are any questions in the chat. I'll be looking at Seamus and see if you have anything you would like to ask or add. As I can see, there's someone in the chat says, for us, we use forms to gain info and feature requests, and which is a very nice way, I think, of eliciting reader feedback or reader comments, or opening up for suggestions and recommendations. And as Seamus asked, does that work? And the reply was yes. Luckily, it's quite easy to embed and analyze. So it's a great way of eliciting data right from your customers or right from your readers, your users, and asking them about all kinds of things. And this is, as one of our viewers told, to gain info and feature requests, which I think is a really clever thing to do and really smart way to do, but also as a way of engaging with your audience by asking them to inform you. So a really nice example. Thank you for sharing. And with that, As promised, I'll show you what other lessons you can take, what are other lessons and workshops that are in this G&I Digital Growth Program, the lesson plan of becoming a successful digital publisher. And as you can see, today we're on the middle track, in the middle column, data management, understanding your data. But we also would like to point you to creating content for digital, which is in the audience development track, or in the advertising revenue track, which says establishing your advertising strategy. Now, so if you do want to find out more about these different topics, please see if you can attend any of these lessons. For any other questions, you have an opportunity to ask further questions and get answers directly from your local Google Teams in the deep dive sessions. There are labs, a number of other training labs are running that we would like to recommend. And lastly, Seamus will provide you with a link where we would like to get your feedback, because your feedback is important to us. And this is how we can evolve and improve our support to you, other newsrooms and newsrooms in the future. So thank you for joining us this session. Thank you from me, Lawrence, and thank you from Seamus. And we're looking forward to seeing you again soon.